Hey guys, what's going on today? BOJoeKO here, back again to help out you guys that are struggling to complete those collections in NHL 14 by bringing you another Hockey Ultimate Team collection guide. Now, thank you for the big support that you guys showed in both the Florida Panthers collection and the CHL Top Prospects collection, and I decided to move back with the NHL teams. And if you did the Florida Panthers collection right, you should have no problem doing this collection as well. Today we're going to be going over the Phoenix Coyotes collection, which is very similar to the Florida one. Very easy to accomplish, only really one major player that we have to worry about. So without further ado, let's dive right into the Phoenix Coyotes NHL 14 Hockey Ultimate Team collection guide. Okay, so for the Phoenix Coyotes collection in NHL 14, there's only 22 players that we have to collect, and all 22 of them are going to be gold. No silvers or no bronze players on Phoenix. 2 goaltenders, 7 defensemen, 13 forwards, 7 jerseys, and 1 logo. So if you complete the entire Phoenix Coyotes collection, you will get a collection bonus of 36,000 pucks. And remember that the collection bonus is going to be our budget for spending on the Phoenix Coyotes collection. So remember, without including the most expensive player on the team, you want to try to keep your budget within 36,000 pucks, which means you will need about 40,000 pucks once again to complete the Phoenix Coyotes collection. Okay guys, so I decided to do something a little bit different for these collection guides now by adding an extra slide into each and every video, because a few of you guys were asking about what the jerseys looked like for each of these teams. So I decided to go onto the game itself, take some screenshots, and I have included all of the jerseys for the Phoenix Coyotes collection in this slide right here. So feel free to pause the video and make sure you find each 7 of these jerseys. I didn't include the prices of these jerseys just because they vary so much. Like I said, you can get them as low as 50 pucks, or you might have to spend as much as 1K for these jerseys. So those are the jerseys for the Phoenix Coyotes collection. Feel free to pause the video and make sure that you get each of these 7 jerseys. But let's move on to the goaltenders for this collection. Okay guys, so for the goaltenders of the Phoenix Coyotes collection, it's going to be the most expensive part of this collection that we're going to collect, just because of the fact that Mike Smith is the most expensive player that we will have to spend money on for the Phoenix Coyotes. So the 2 goaltenders, Mike Smith and Thomas Greiss. Mike Smith, you're going to have to spend about 25 to 30K on him, and Thomas Greiss only about 500 to 700. Mike Smith obviously is a rare gold, Thomas Greiss non-rare gold. So Mike Smith 25 to 30K, Thomas Greiss 500 to 700K. Okay, so now as we move on to the defense for the Phoenix Coyotes, there are 7 players which we have to collect. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, David Schlemko, Rostislav Klesla, Keith Yandle, Zbigniew Michalek, Mike Stone, and David Morris. So as you guys can see, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Klesla, Yandle, Michalek, and Morris are all the rare gold players. Schlemko and Stone are the 2 non-rare gold players. So for Ekman-Larsson, about 1 to 1.5K for him. Schlemko 500 to 700, Klesla 700 to 1K, Keith Yandle 3 to 4K, Michalek 700 to 1K, Stone 300 to 600, and Morris 700 to 1K. So Yandle and Ekman-Larsson are going to cost you a little bit more on the defensive side, but other than those 2, they're really the only 2 players other than Mike Smith that are going to cost you the most money in this Phoenix Coyotes collection. So let's move on to the offense. Okay, so now as we move on to the forwards for the Phoenix Coyotes collection, there are 13 guys which we have to collect. Radim Vrbata, Mikkel Boedker, Martin Hanzal, Brandon McMillan, Kyle Chipchura, Rob Klinkhammer, Brandon Yip, Paul Biz Nasty, David Moss, Mike Ribeiro, Antoine Vermette, Lori Korpikoski, and Shane Doan. So Vrbata, Boedker, and Hanzal about 700 to 1K for each of those guys. McMillan 400 to 600, Chipchura 500 to 800, Klinkhammer 500 to 700, Yip 400 to 600, Paul Biznasty 1 million bucks. No, I'm just kidding. 500 to 700. David Moss 400 to 600, Ribeiro 700 to 1K, Vermette 800 to 1K, Korpikoski 700 to 1K, and Shane Doan 600 to 800. So really the only player that's on the higher end side of that 1K margin would be Antoine Vermette, just because people value his speed in this game and because he's a really good face-off taker. So those are the 13 forwards for the Phoenix Coyotes. Fairly cheap, 500 range for almost about each of the 500 to 600 to 700 pucks for each of these players in this collection for the forwards, with only Antoine Vermette being on the upper end of the 1K margin. Okay, so once again, to repeat myself, the collection bonus for the Phoenix Coyotes is going to be 36,000 pucks, which you want to use for your budget of this collection. Now, if you total up all the players from the low end to the high end, without including the jerseys and the logo, you're going to be spending in the range of 40.7K to 53K on the Phoenix Coyotes collection, with almost more than half of that amount attaining to Mike Smith. So pretty much the collection bonus, you could spend almost that amount of money on Mike Smith in and of itself. So if you take pretty much Mike Smith out of this equation, take off maybe 30K, you're only spending about 10 to 20K for everything else of the Phoenix Coyotes collection, which is actually really, really cheap. I think only Florida is cheaper than the Phoenix Coyotes collection, so it's fairly easy to complete the Phoenix Coyotes collection if you can get your hands on Mike Smith. If you can get Mike Smith on your team or get him in your collection, the rest of the Phoenix Coyotes collection is a breeze to pick up. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this Phoenix Coyotes Hut collection guide. I hope you enjoyed them. If you have not seen the Florida Panthers collection guide or the CHL Top Prospects White and Red collection guide, check in the description below for the links to those two videos, or you could always just check out my channel by clicking that subscribe button, and you can find it fairly easily. So thanks guys for watching. If you want to suggest another NHL team for me to do fairly cheap, I'm trying to do all the cheaper teams first so that you guys can like move from one collection to the next without having any problems whatsoever. That's what I'm trying to do. But if you want me to do a specific collection that you guys suggest, leave that in the comment section down below, and you might see it maybe on the next episode of these Hut collection guides. So thanks for watching. Hope it helped. If it did, leave a like, leave a comment, and as always, subscribe guys, and I'll see you next time with another Hockey Ultimate Team Hut collection guide.